Hey, Bricky's Bible, thank you once again for joining me and for just tuning in to listen to these thoughts about what really matters and the most wonderful things in all the world. Today, we're still carrying on Mark's story about Jesus, some of the things that he did. We're in Mark chapter 1, verse 12. Once the Spirit sent him, that's Jesus, out into the desert, and he was in the desert 40 days being tempted by Satan. He was with the wild animals and angels attended him. Wow. The devil. I don't know if you've ever thought about this character, who he is. In all kinds of films, all kinds of novels, you get baddies. There's always a baddie. In nearly every story, there's some kind of baddie, and then there's goodies as well. And yet, for some time, people, I suppose, in this country have kind of thought the devil, what's going on with that? That guy that some people dress up as at Halloween with a pitchfork and stuff. They sort of think, do you honestly think that there's something out there like that? Obviously not. There's obviously nothing like that. But in the Bible, we have to take seriously and reckon with the fact that there is something out there more terrible and horrible than we could ever imagine. If it was only in, I don't know, say Wales, or even if it was only in, say, Europe, the countries of Europe, that there was this belief in this person called the devil, then you might just think, well, that was just something that we made up, to make ourselves scared at night or to scare our children or something. But if you were to take the time and trouble to go back, you would discover that every civilization and ancient culture of the world had this idea that there was something out there like this. They called it different names, but this this named fear, something behind all the baddies in all the films and in all the stories and in all the books, something out there. In the Bible, Jesus tells us and gives the authorized story of who this guy is, because there are all kinds of pop culture legends that have grown up around him and things that aren't true about him. But Jesus made him, not the way that he is now, but made him at the start good for a particular job that he had for him to do. And he had a CV and he had a job description, all kind of things that Jesus set him up with. And at the very beginning, this character, this figure called the devil, went wrong, badly wrong, and in such a way that he couldn't go back on it, and became something terrible and horrible. And he did that while leading our first parents away from Jesus. You see, remember what we said before, that the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, the real God, the only God who's ever done anything in the real world, made us because they were having such an amazing time together and wanted to bring us into sharing their life. And our first parents were made to enjoy that. We were made to enjoy that as well. And this figure, the devil, had been made to help us with that, to help us understand that and to grow in that and to enjoy life with Jesus that would never end. But he chose not to do that and went badly, badly wrong. He began to think that he himself might get us to follow him rather than trust Jesus, and that he in fact could reign over everything and could sit on the throne of the universe. So his mindset became all about him. Everything's about him. And you might just put it like this, the mindset of the devil or of Satan is very, very simple. It's just me first. It's all about me. Just do whatever makes me happy. That's his mindset from the very beginning to the very end of the Bible. And you know why that's scary? It's scary because it's very familiar, isn't it? That's probably not the first time you've heard that. You hear that all the time. That's the mantra that's said again and again in society around us. In other words, what we tell ourselves, and it's going on all around us, in this country is exactly the way that the devil thinks about life. It wasn't very hard. We can go back to the story in the future. It wasn't very hard for him to trip up our first parents. They had like every possible advantage. They had like a home game and they lost badly in the first encounter with the devil. Now Jesus goes out to fight against him for you and me, to set you free from his power and to enable you to live a better life, a new life, a wonderful life with him. I used to love, there's all like like the big, like the punch up, the big fights. And it's probably like the Northern Irish thing, really. But I don't know if you saw recently, Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury. That was a great one, wasn't it? Or Muhammad Ali, George Foreman, Rumble in the Jungle, Thrill in Manila, those kind of things. And there's been all kinds of like famous battles and fights. In Northern Ireland, in our school, like people used to just fight. There wasn't even any reason. They weren't even angry. They just fight, and people would watch them because they enjoyed a fight. This is not like just a fight for like no reason's sake like that. No, in this battle, Jesus wanted to set you free from that mindset, that way of the world and the way of the devil that we all naturally think like without even knowing it, to bring us into a much better way of thinking and living with him. Jesus thought that you were worth it. He loved you enough to take the battle to that terrible old enemy and to defeat him for you. What's the worst thing that the devil does? The devil does lots of different things, and his power is great in this world. The way that people think, it's not that he sort of whispers in people's ears necessarily all the time. No, it's the way he thinks and his mindset. The worst thing that he does is come as a cloud between you and Jesus, so that you can almost like not even know what Jesus is like and how good and lovely and kind and awesome he is. Jesus took the fight to the devil for you to get rid of that dark cloud so that you might see him for who he really is. Have you seen him? Are you enjoying freedom of life with Jesus? He did it all for you. Today, experience Jesus, life with him that's better than anything else. May God bless you.